book babe, I hope you recognize this background. Yes, I am currently back in Italy and have been traveling. Definitely super active over on Instagram and hope I can host some lives again once I am back. But ever since the inception of this channel, I have talked about reading various genres and really putting myself out of my comfort zone. It is no secret that fantasy holds a special place in my heart. And as of late, I've actually started to dabble in thrillers. I can't wait to break down every single book I've read so far, my thoughts, my ratings, how is the journey going, basically my overall discovery that I actually freaking adore thrillers. And I don't know why I didn't think I would like them beforehand, because I freaking love thriller movies. But of course, before we get into all those shenanigans, let's hear from today's sponsor, which is my partnership with Ana Luisa. Y'all know I have loved working with Ana Luisa because I love jewelry so much, and their pieces are affordable, sustainable, and absolutely beautiful. This month I ended up picking 2 more pieces. If you've been eyeing anything, now is the time to grab your piece. Ana Luisa is having a massive sale with up to 35% off. All of these viral pieces are beautiful, sustainable, and you want to make sure you grab yours using the link down below before they sell out. From November 25th all the way to November 29th, Black Friday sales, because that is their special deal running right now. Buy yourself a really cute piece or buy a piece for one of your friends or family, because the holidays are upon us. Their pieces just last so well. And if you didn't know, I actually wore them way before partnering together. So this partnership is really an absolute dream for me. But wait, if you have been on the website, you will also see their Luxe edition items. They call AL Luxe. These pieces are a little bit more curated, a little bit more fancy, but still super affordable. Well, Ana Luisa is currently launching an AL Luxe program, which means you can actually be a member and receive a bunch of perks. They have way more details on their website. Membership has no strings attached. You can pause, you can skip, you can be very flexible with it if you don't want a piece that month, and shipping is absolutely free. There are also a ton more perks with this program. It is recently launched. You can check it out using the link down below. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa for partnering with me today and for giving all of my book babes, aka you guys, a special discount using my link down below. Now let's get to this video. I pulled up my Goodreads. We're gonna do this thing. Let's start with Miss Frida herself, Never Lie. This was actually a part of my 12 Recs challenge, which I have done an okay-ish job this year, where I asked 12 different bookstagrammers and booktubers that I love for a rec, and this was recommended to me by my good friend Jojo. Her characters are freaking bizarre. Like, I have no idea what that lady is thinking in her brain when she's writing these characters, but they were all freaking sus. And as I was DMing my friends about this book, a lot of them actually really agreed with me. This author's characters are a little bit unhinged, and you never really know what you're gonna get with them, but you know it's gonna be a crazy ass time. One thing I loved about this book right away is that it is fast paced and it is multi-point of view, and I was just so interested because this mystery was going to unravel through secret tapes, and I don't know what it is about that like trope or whatever. I was like so into it. That is actually a way of storytelling I adore, and it's actually even in video games. If you're a gamer, you know what I mean. When you're exploring these cities, you can actually find letters and you can actually find different types of clues from other strangers that have passed by, or to put the pieces together. And I don't know, it's like creepy, it's a vibe. I'm always really curious. I always want to know more. This character is like staying in this super sus cabin, which right away I was like, girl, what are you doing there? I would be running away because she was weird. Her partner was weird. She's also pregnant. So like, what are you doing right now? She finds these tapes and starts listening to them. And it is from a psychologist, like a psychiatrist, psychologist. It's been a long time since I've read this, so I don't remember. But she has these wackadoodle patients that are very, very unhinged. And then you start putting these pieces together. Everyone was super excited for me to get to the ending because they couldn't wait to see what I thought about this mind-blowing ending. And I don't know if they hyped it too much, and don't hate me if you're a big fan of this book. The ending wasn't like super shocking to me. The only reason why, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers, I've seen this type of ending done in a certain TV show. And because I've seen it done in a TV show so well and it blew my mind then, I feel like that's why it didn't really blow my mind this time. But I did end up giving this book 3 stars because it hooked me, it was fast paced, and I think if you've never read anything like this before or seen this done before, I think you will really enjoy it. This is where my thriller story began. Like, you feel me? Like, at this point I was like, I'm really into this, I want to read more. And so I picked up You Shouldn't Have Come Here. Boy, I feel like this book is best summarized by my friend Marissa's rating, which made me laugh so hard. I felt this 100%, and I still wasn't sure if I felt what I felt because by no means am I a thrillers expert, okay? You come to me with fantasy, like, I got you. I can tell you what makes a book good or not in my humble, amazing opinion. But thrillers, I feel like when you're exploring a genre, you do have to read a little bit more to figure out your taste, what you like, what authors you like, what tropes you like, you don't like. You just have to try different things. A thriller is meant to keep you turning. And at this point, I think most thrillers keep me engaged and curious. What distinguishes a good thriller from a bad thriller for me, for just little old XO Joe? This book, really engaging, super fast. You have some wackadoodle characters, which we're all about, but the writing wasn't really good. The character kept saying blue about her eyes. Like, every time he looked at her eyes, he was like, the blue eyes, her blue eyes, in her blue eyes. I could not get over it. You got this woman who's like in this getaway and she books this cabin and it's obviously suspicious already, like the character in there says. And I was just getting so annoyed because every single turn was screaming, go away. And lo and behold, things happen. The fecal matter hit the fan. At the end of it all though, yeah, what the heck was this book? I did end up giving it 2 stars because I don't think it's something I would fully recommend. Blue line. At the same time, I actually checked out the book Sharp Objects. This is a book that was recommended by other thriller girlies. Feel free to drop one below as well if you're like, Joanne, you gotta try this thriller. So not only is Sharp Objects a really popular book, but it is also a TV show. And after reading this, I don't know if I can handle the TV show. This was definitely a completely different type of thriller for me. Whereas Never Lie and You Shouldn't Have Come Here takes place like in a cabin. These wackadoodle characters are like deeply disturbed wackadoodles. And now I'm sounding like the blue guy. I love like a small town setting, and there's something obviously wrong with a weird small town, and the people are obviously covering something up. What was going on in this town where all these girls were missing and their teeth were all missing? She also has a really disturbing dynamic with her mother and a really fractured relationship with her family. Hell yeah, I'm down for family trauma and like dysfunction. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but it's fiction. We're fine. It's fine. I really enjoyed this novel. Characters have more layers to them. They all are very disturbed, but in like this creepy, slow, onion layered way where the more you peel back, the more you're like, oh gosh, this is just very uncomfortable. Her family is like rich and well off and popular, so of course the family's gonna get away with things a little bit more than your typical family would. Now, the ending literally made me like cringe and like fold into myself. The whodunit wasn't so surprising. What was surprising was certain types of violence. Oh, the people who have read this understand what I'm talking about, and apparently it's equally disturbing in the show. I don't know how the actresses did that scene. 4 stars for that one, baby. If something happens to me. This author has written multiple thrillers, but this was my first thriller by them, of course. It was multi-point of view. It includes like a mobster, a small town again, a new sheriff, and you're just wondering how is this all even connected, because there is literally zero inkling or clue as to how it's connected in the beginning. There is so much going on. I had a lot of fun with this book. Things happened from like page 1. I was really surprised we did not spend that much time with the boyfriend, because this is the person who saw his girlfriend, the love of his life, get taken, and then they blamed him for her supposed alleged death. They never found a body. I felt like we spent way more time with with the sheriff and the mobster, and I was pretty happy about that because he was really boring. This was also a 4-star for me. I did not expect the connection to be what it was. I appreciate you, Finlay. I appreciate you for doing something different. It's so funny seeing sharp objects, and if something happens to me, rated about the same but for different reasons. Sharp objects definitely felt more sophisticated, a little bit more lengthy, a little bit more like buff and meaty, whereas if something happens to me, felt more fast-paced but like really interesting and like a lot of action going on. Two very different styles of thriller, but both of them were like favorites at the time. And then we have The Whisper Man, which is a whole other type of thriller. If you can't see how committed I am to reading different books for you and trying new things, I hope this video shows that. And if you are enjoying all these shenanigans and all this chattiness and you're not yet subscribed, make sure you hit the sub button, maybe the like button if you also like these shenanigans. Thank you very much. Let's continue traumatizing. The Whisper Man was probably the first book to genuinely creep me out. I didn't think I was actually being affected by the storyline in this book until I got up dead of winter. You wake up and it's like super dark in the morning. And when I got up to go to my 6 a.m. class, I remember feeling so creeped out. I remember feeling like, what if something's watching me through the window? What if like I'm running out? The vibes were disturbed. Simply because The Whisper Man, in terms of thriller, is a very realistic one. The Whisper Man focuses on a predator, okay? And a child predator. I had no idea it would be this creepy. The narrator was so creepy with his voice. 10 out of 10. Recommend to get all the creep vibes. Basically, there were these really crazy disappearances of these young kids and things that happened. That guy is in jail, but now things are happening again. There is a central family that we're focusing on, and we don't know if it's a paranormal thing or if it's a real thing. Will this kid be okay by the end of the story was like my main concern. I was just like clutching my pearls. I will warn you that some people have noted that it's a little bit slow. In this case, The Whisper Man was more of a 5-star read for me just because it actually creeped me out in my real life. I was really curious. It was really disturbing. It felt like a Criminal Minds episode, and it was more realistic thriller. Make that what you will. Maybe you don't want to read something real like that. Now we have House of Glass. This was given to me by Macmillan Audios. I needed a little thriller to pick up my reading slump, especially after reading a lot of like drama books that were so interesting and just like filled with a bunch of tea. House of Glass was a really quick and easy read. It wasn't my favorite type of thriller, I'll tell you that. And I thought I would like it more because you also have this therapist. There's this family and they're pretty powerful and they're divorcing. She basically has to go in and decide how the child custody is going to be split. Is it 100% to one parent? Is it 50-50? Is it 80-20? Like, what's gonna happen here? And so she has to spend time with the family, but the family is very clearly hiding a secret about this girl. This girl is also mute. She cannot speak for some reason. There is some trauma there. So as a therapist, she really has to figure out what's going on with this kiddo. Where is she gonna be safest? She isn't even speaking. I have to find a way to connect. And I thought I would really like this book because I thought there would be a lot more going on. And while it still entertained me, I felt like the ending was like really weird and just kind of disjointed, but it was still like a really fun read. Does that make sense? And this is where I realized that I started to really figure out what I actually liked and what type of thrillers there are out there. I felt like my taste started to get a little bit more defined. I did end up giving House of Glass 3 stars, but I still think it's like a really easy fun read. Like I mentioned in the beginning, The Night Guest. I think this book made its rounds during the peak of spooky season. It is a novella. It is translated. It is so creepy, disturbing, strange, has such a weird ending that will keep you debating as to like what actually happened in the book. I really liked it. I think if you've never tried a thriller before, this one is definitely very strange and kind of like out of the norm, but also a really fast and easy read. I think it's only like 100 pages, 200 pages. The character clearly shows signs of unhingedness, and then you add in these creepy things that start happening that you don't know if they're like paranormal or maybe someone's messing with her. That's what I love about this book. It keeps you guessing. You don't really know what's happening or what's going on, so you have to keep reading to figure it out. The author accomplished so much for such a short book. It's a novella, okay? I think I ended up giving it like 4.5 5 stars. This next book was absolutely shocking for me. It is called Love Letters to a Serial Killer, and the way I found this book was completely out of the blue. I decided to try it, and I think it might be one of my favorite books that I've read so far in the thriller category. Love Letters to a Serial Killer has so much of what I've loved so far in all these other thrillers. Like if I were to take bits and pieces of the other books and what I liked about them, I think you would find this book. Starting off with a completely unhinged MC, there is something so fun about reading thrillers where the character is Delulu. So in this book, you have a character that is starting to fall in love with a serial killer and starts to write letters to this man who killed multiple women. I don't know what she expects at the end of the story when he literally killed his own dates and his own love interest. Now, what's interesting about this character is that she's lucid in a sense. She gave me absolute Juniper Song from Yellowface vibes. Like if Juniper Song fell in love with a serial killer and started pursuing him, it would be this book. I had a lot of fun reading this book. It was very modern. This is broadcasted and you have Reddit threads and you have all these podcasters, and I couldn't help but wonder if the author was like calling some of these people out, like, no, you guys are a little bit nuts, like you're kind of border together, like you're not that far from crossing certain lines. The ending dropped my jaw a little bit. I think I was like in the middle of cooking and I was like, is this for real? Like, is this how it's actually ending? I did not expect a lot of these things. I think this would range anywhere from 4 to 5 stars. I still felt like there was something missing. I appreciated what the author did in this. I thought it was also funny, kind of like satirical. This is why she reminds me of Juniper Song, because the things June says is just so not okay and so unhinged. In a way, I felt like we were making fun of the MC and also curious to know what was happening. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was so unexpected and I highly recommend it. I have had They Never Learn on hold for the longest time. I kept putting it off and I was like, I'm in a thriller mood. Let's finally get it. Y'all, like the female rage in this book, it felt so strange to read this in the midst of elections, because this book is all about a woman taking justice into her own hands and coming after characters that have somehow beat the system by ruining women, whether that's actually ending their life, doing things to them, whatever it might mean. And honestly, are we mad? We're not really mad. We have 2 different timelines. We have this young girl who sees her roommate go through something really awful, again at the hands of a guy who gets away with it, and you have the main character who is doing the killing and removing these predators away from the world. The way things were revealed 40-50% through the book was really surprising to me. What is the rest of the story if the author basically gave us so many answers, but the author very clearly wanted you to think one thing while it was completely something else, because it was missing a little bit of context or a little bit of framing, and so you put them together and she's like, it makes sense, right? Well, too bad, because it's actually this whole other thing. I am not like a professional book reviewer in the least. I'm still like simmering in it. I don't know if I want to give it 4 stars or something a little bit higher, because I was really curious. Again, it kept me up, but I felt like all of these books kept me reading. The thriller genre in general keeps me really engaged. And the last book I have read, Then She Was Gone. This is my first Lisa Jewell. I posted about it. I was like, baby's first Lisa Jewell. I feel like it's a mix of They Never Learn and Never Lie, but like in the middle, where the characters are clearly all wackadoodle, and so the story is obviously going to be wackadoodle, and that makes it a little bit easier to trick your characters. At the same time, the characters also still have some sense where they are questioning themselves and are not just like running into wackadoodle conclusions. Maybe I expected more sharp objects, but like a step higher with more action, more fast paced. I don't know what I expected. This was a cool read. I did guess wrong a few times, but for the most part I guessed right. And I feel like this book kind of falls into a 3-star for me. I think I need to try more Lisa Jewell to see what the absolute hype around her is about, because it wasn't my favorite of all time. It was freaking like unhinged. Like we have so many unhinged characters in this that I'm like, good God, I don't know how to feel about this, but I am excited to try more of her books. So it's safe to say that I really enjoy these thrillers, and I am currently trying another one. It is more real world and definitely has a ton of commentary. It is called Sisters of the Lost Nation. This is by Nick Medina. I met this author at Tucson Festival of Books this year, and I finally picked up his book with being in this thriller mood. The thriller journey continues, friends. I hope you found a thriller you want to try, and I hope you had fun hearing about my journeys. And if you have a book or a genre you think I should try for 2025, let me know down below, because I really want to see if maybe I should try horror. I've never tried true horror before. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!